Senator Chuck Grassley is on the top of the Republican and Senate Finance Committee. He joins Peter Cook now from Capitol Hill. Peter.
Thanks very much, Jared. It is a busy day here in Washington with the Job Summit. Ben Bernanke here on the Hill. We're here to talk with Senator Chuck Grassley, the top Republican on the Finance Committee, about these issues. Thanks for the time, as always. Appreciate it. President's Job Summit today, a photo op, or you think something really constructive is going to come out of this?
Well, something constructive can come out of it, but I think it's up to the president to make sure that he brings things out that will build confidence in the economy. Right now, they see Congress spending all their time on health care, where jobs, and getting out of the recession is on everybody's mind, not health care reform. So I sent 3 suggestions to the president. One dealt with taxes, one dealt with trade, and one dealt with energy.
Well, let me ask you about the bigger picture here and the talk about a second stimulus, or at least additional stimulus measures. Do you think you and fellow Republicans could support the idea of additional stimulus measures, even another stimulus package, if it adds in any way to the federal deficit?
If it is spending, the answer is no. But if you think that one of the things that's stretching this recession out is because there's no certainty of tax policy, because we're supposed to get big tax increases automatically next year or even voted next year, the one thing that the president could do if he really wants to build confidence and help us get out of the recession would be say right now, like he said in January, that we're not going to have a big tax increase in 2009. He needs to say that there's not going to be a big tax increase in 2010 and 2011, because the uncertainty of what the tax policies are going to be, because they're going to go up so much, particularly for small business, and that's where 70% of the jobs are created. If we're going to have big tax increases, it's going to take it out of the cash flow of small businesses, because that's where they get their job creation, is their cash flow. And taxes going up is going to reduce that cash flow. So certainty of tax policy, not having 15% increases in taxes next year would be very helpful.
Let me ask you about one tax idea that's been floated around here on the Hill, this idea of a tax credit for new hires, for small businesses, maybe even large ones as well. Does that make sense to you? There's some concerns perhaps that could be gamed somehow.
Well, it's a little better than spending a lot of money like in a $787 billion stimulus bill last February that hasn't kept unemployment under 8%. But no tax policy is good as the assurance of investors, and particularly small business, that marginal tax rates aren't going to go up. So, in other words, keeping the marginal tax rate at 35% instead of it going up to 41% would be the best thing the president could do.
Do you think there's any opportunity for you and Democrats, this administration, to get together on the corporate tax rate, on a deal, perhaps this trade-off we've heard about, end the loopholes and then lower the overall corporate tax rate?
There is a lot of support for reducing the corporate tax rate down to 25 or 24%, even broadening the corporate tax structure, but reducing the marginal tax rates. But I think that this administration is so anti-business that they really would not want to do that philosophically, even though they know it's a good, right thing to do.
Let me ask you about Ben Bernanke. You're not a member of the Banking Committee. He's testifying there today on his confirmation. Some people, Senator Bernie Sanders among them, say he doesn't deserve a second term. What do you think?
Well, I have not made up my mind on his going back in, because the one thing that I want to know before I vote for him is that all of this money that they've shoveled out the airplane in the last 10 months by printing money, that's going to create inflation here in just a little while. I want to know when they're going to mop that up and bring monetary policy under control so we don't have the inflationary threat. Because if he doesn't say he's going to do that and doesn't make it clear he's going to do that, I can't vote for anybody that's going to lead us to hyperinflation like we had in 1979, 80, and 81.